After trying Porsches on the streets and back roads, there's only one place left to try. Where the 911 and its engineering really shine. We've got our hands on the GT3 Cup, a model designed with track racing in mind. It's one of the fastest cars Porsche has ever made. Forget, this playlist is all about clean racing. it. driving all the Porsches under the rainbow, you've gotten a real feel for them. We're going to Diamond Head. You got some people waiting for you there. I believe you've made quite an impression on some of Porsche's big shots. Will be tough, so get ready.
Welcome. I'm glad you could join. This is Jake, our test driver on the island. Fancy a little showdown? This is your ride. And don't worry about scratching the car this time. Just drive as you please.
claim your reward, driver. As a prize, we had to choose one car to give you from the Porsche lineup. As you may have just found out, trying to pick a favorite is incredibly tough. But we did it! Congratulations! Your very own Porsche 911 Carrera 4S. Top of the line and ready to hit the roads. The new playlist a spin. Let's give the new playlist a spin. Is all about luxury cars. If you've played the Ferrari playlist, you know what I mean. But it doesn't end there. The festival has invited numerous guests and brands to take part over the years. And now, the most prestigious brands are opening their doors to us. Car Authority, the Archivist, has been invited by the greatest European luxury car manufacturers to discuss a common passion for beautiful vehicles and to show us the places where these jewels are formed. A grand tour of Europe that you'll be getting a taste of in this new playlist experience. Onto the container. You'll discover everything this voyage was about.
As the Motorfest archivist, I had the privilege to be invited by prestigious European car manufacturers for a special visit. This was the beginning of my European tour, and the starting point for your new car culture experience. My journey would let me spend time among the finest machines the old continent has produced. French elegance, German peak engineering.
Welcome to the Porsche Museum. First and foremost, Porsche is something you have to drive. You have to sit in, you have to feel. If you sit in the car, then you directly recognize this is a Porsche.
British craftsmanship.
Experience the bike that we already love. Character, performance, detail, quality, style.
I'll relate my journey for you, and for my archives. These are my luxury chronicles.
This time, the Motorfest will deliver this playlist to you on a weekly basis. Each week, a new chapter of the Luxury Chronicles for you to enjoy the luxury cars throughout the whole season. Let's see what's coming up. Starts now. Our archivist has documented the whole thing, so we can share with you here in Hawaii his luxury chronicles. Each car you'll be driving in this playlist is related to our archivist journey. Get to the event tag and discover what our luxury car authority has in store for you.
My trip back to Europe would lead me first to France, with a schedule full of promise. I couldn't wait to meet the people from Bugatti, embodiment of French car luxury, and spend time with some of the most brilliant machines in the country. But my very first meeting was with an equally interesting manufacturer and a rather peculiar car. Genti Automobile and their first creation, the Accolone. My European journey was starting far from the buzzing cities, in the small village of Saint-Yor, in central France. When you get these notes, driver, you'll be driving the roads of Maui in the very cars I'm writing about, to get a proper French luxury feel without leaving Hawaii or the festival. The Accolone and Genti Automobile was such an interesting starting point for my tour. A newcomer to the French luxury car market, and their very first machine. This was very exciting. I got to learn everything I needed to know about this car. A car born from the passion of a creator who dreamed of building his own luxury hypercar with 4-figure horsepower and an unparalleled power-to-weight ratio from scratch. By the time you, driver, get my notes, the result should be in your hands. personality and soul. The Accolone by Genti Automobile.
How was this luxury ride for an introduction? For the next event of this playlist, we're going deeper into the French luxury car market. Get ready to hear everything about our Archivist's second stop.
Despite its rare and premium nature, luxury cars can take many forms and come from many places. Of course, they often come from well-established luxury manufacturers, and I was about to see a lot of these on my journey. But my visit at Genti has shown us that a luxury car can bloom from the vision and passion of a single person. And today, my second stop in France has shown that luxury cars can also come from manufacturers that usually keep their distance from the luxury world. This stop was about a French everyday car manufacturer, Citroën, and their famous Citroën GT. The GT is a car which, according to its main engineer in 2008, was meant to be the supercar of 2025, the same year as this European trip. Talk about apropos. This car was originally made for a video game, but it had such an impact that they decided to make it a reality. At the time, the possibility of having the GT be mass-produced was real. But in the end, the incredible vehicle would remain a concept car for the world to admire and a very privileged few to drive. Cognac alone and this Citroën GT, my tour was off to a great...
Things are getting serious. You're now about to focus on the most luxurious of French luxury car brands. No need to think twice.